Come on in, everybody. I got my tea. How about you? Have you got your tea? And we're going to see what is in. We're out of topics in the Wise Old Owl. Oh my goodness. We're totally out of topics. What are we going to talk about today? We are totally out of topics. And I didn't know it. I thought we had one more left. What am I going to do? Okay. I'm going to look at the comments and y'all are going to tell me what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to pick something from the comments. While we're waiting on everybody to get in here, those of you who are the beginners, yep, come on in and let's figure out what I'm going to talk about today, because I have no topics. None. After 13 pages, I have no topics. Both my teapot and my Wise Old Owl are empty. Can you imagine? Wow. I think I know what I'm going to talk about. You know, I'm packing for a weekend too. Only going to be gone 3 days. So as I figure it, I'm going to wear an outfit, take an outfit for Monday, and then come home in an outfit. So I have to have my clothes laid out to go, and then 2 outfits. That's not much. Let's see what some people are saying I need to talk about. It's never too late, no matter how old you are, to be better. You know, you can be better every day. Every day we can be better. Be the person you want to be. And all it takes is just changing. Oh! I'll be right back. I got something to show you. I'll be right back. Hold on. Hold your horses. I'll be right back. I'm back. Let me find my microphone. What I do with it? I dropped it. There it is. I got it. Putting it on. We've almost got 200 in here. This is show and tell day. It's show and tell. You know, I told you 2 weeks ago that a switch flipped in my head over the amount of salt I've been eating. I've been in total denial over the amount of salt I've been eating. And Leanne and I have been discussing it. Chip and Dan Heath wrote a book called Made to Switch. Something about switch. I don't know the whole name of it, but it's a great book. And I asked Robert, I said, I need a prop. And guess what he made me? He made me a purple switch. Look at this. We're having a storm, by the way. He made me a purple switch. We have the ability to flip the switch any time we want to. It's right here. This book, Body Clutter, talks about it. This book is the beginning of your body clutter journey. This switch can put an end, flip the switch. Yep. It's just, I wish it made a buzz or something, but there's an off and on. I want to keep my switch flipped on. I want to flip the switch on. That's up. It's going up. And it's purple. And this, he's put an overspray of purple glitter. You know, only Fly Lady would have purple glitter paint. So here you got it. This is great. This is, it's our switch to changing everything. We can change the way we think. Now, when Fly Lady started, I had another switch that flipped. I was sitting there on New Year's Day thinking of what in the world, how come I couldn't keep house? I was married to this wonderful man. We had been married 2 years, and I just wanted to be the best wife possible for him. He spoils me rotten. I wanted to be everything for him. And so I'm sitting there on this New Year's Day beating myself up. Beating myself up like you wouldn't believe. Beating myself up because I couldn't keep house. So I started thinking about it, and this is getting the brain going. This is dealing with the clutter that's in here. This is our body clutter because it starts right here. It gets deposited other places, but it starts right here. Now, let me gather myself. But I was sitting there beating myself up because I was a terrible housekeeper. And I started thinking about the only thing that had ever worked for me, and that was Pam Young and Peggy Jones's card file system. So I had the card file system. I had it stuffed back in the kitchen cabinet, way back up in there where I had to practically get down on my hands and knees to grab it. And I pulled it out. And I just didn't have a little 3x5 card file box. I'm obsessive compulsive. And I went hog wild. I mean to tell you, hog wild with this card file system. I made the card file system. It was 18 inches long. If it had one card, it had 500. And all these dividers in January through December, you name it, it was there. And it was huge. And when I would skip a day and miss a day, I would just out of sight, out of mind. Let's get it underneath the kitchen counter and just not think about it anymore. Well, when you don't have it in front of your face, kind of like when you don't have your calendar in front of your face. So, I started sorting these cards. I sorted the cards. And there were blue ones, there were yellow ones, and there were green ones. And one color was for daily cards, and another color was for weekly cards, and then another color was for monthly cards. So I took the daily cards and I sorted them into morning, afternoon, and evening. Morning, afternoon, and evening. And I thought, well, I looked at all of them. It's over 50 cards. And I thought, I can't do this. Here I am beating myself up again. I can't do this. But guess what? I thought, I'll make a list. Isn't that what we do? We make this humongous list that we can't even think about. Can't even begin to do it all in one day. But guess what? Guess what? Here comes the best part. I took those cards, and I picked one card because the switch that flipped for me, this switch that flipped on, was I had never established a habit. Never established a habit. Never, ever established a habit. So I picked one card And that would be my one card for January. Now, in the South, we have this old saying that says, whatever you do on January 1st, you're going to do every day for the rest of the year. So, out of ignorance and stupidity, I thought, well, I'm not going to do laundry, I'm not going to do dishes, but guess what? When you don't do those things every day, what happens to them? They pile up. And when they pile up, our houses look terrible. They look awful. So when you do a little every day, it changes the world. So the switch flipped. Bam, 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 bam. It was going off like firecrackers in my head. All I got to do is establish one habit. And I don't know where I got this, but I realized that psychologists tell us it takes 21 days to establish a new habit. Well, guess how many days there are in a month? There's 30 on average. February has 28, sometimes 29. I decided I would give myself a little grace period. Because if I miss a day, I was going to take the whole month of January to practice my one habit. And you know what that one habit was? I think we need to drink to this one. That one habit was keeping my sink clean and shiny. Why did I pick that habit? Because my husband asked me to. Not in any uncertain terms, you have to shine the sink. What he said was, honey, now this is coming from a sidetracked person who put all the dirty dishes in the sink with hot soapy water on both sides of the sink and then left it to get up to it in the morning with mystery water and clumps floating on top. Think about it. That mystery water, who wants to put their hand down into that? Cold, nasty water. So, he said, honey, if you'll just keep one side of the sink open for me, I'll make you coffee every morning. And you know what? He's lived up to that. 23 years later, I'm still keeping my sink clean and shiny. I'll even shine Leanne's sink when I'm up there. And he makes me coffee every morning. And when he's got to be out early, he gets me a cup ready to go. But sorry about that, y'all. We're having issues here. We're having a storm. But the main thing is I got my sink clean and shiny. And what I realized was when a sink is that beautiful, and this was a 25-year-old sink, and we have hard water. We have hard water. And I had to take a knife and go around the edge of my sink. I had to take dental floss to the faucets. I had to really clean and shine. You know, we like to make things shine. Just give you a cloth and some brass polish and go to town, or silver, and we want things to shine. And I got that sink, after I drained that water and rinsed it really well, I put some Comet on it and scrubbed it with an SOS pad. And I buffed that sink. It was an old sink. And you know, it looked like a brand new penny. It looked like a brand new penny. So for those of you who haven't shined your sink yet, go shine your sink. It's the beginning of something beautiful. It is the switch. The recognition. I can do this one thing. I can keep my sink clean and shiny. I can do this. I can do this. But there's another thing I realized. Go shine your sink. That's where you start over if you need to. That's your foundation. Leanne and I are using the hot melt sprint as our foundation. We're going to do it every month. For the rest of our lives, we're going to do it every month. You hear me? We're going to do it every month when we're in zone 2. It's going to be part of zone 2, doing the hot melt sprint. And after one of us is dead and gone, we're still going to keep doing it. Because Leanne will hear my voice and I'll hear her voice. We'll be haunting each other. Because we're going to do this hot melt sprint on the zone 2 every month. Be a part of it. This is amazing stuff. It's a switch that flipped for me. And it's going back to a foundation. And we owe it all to Mark's daughter Leah that Leanne watched. Because she's a little thin thing. Little tiny girl. And once a month, she goes back to basics. Pretty much, Leanne described it as being the hot melt diet. Now go check out savingdinner.com/melt if you want to continue on this diet with us. Leanne's got it all there for you. And if you use hot HM, Leanne, put it in here. What the coupon code is it? Put it in here. But let me get back to the shiny sink. One of the major things that flipped for me that day, here it is again. It's the switch that flips. I realized I was mean. I wasn't mean to anybody else around me. I was mean to me. And that had to stop. So I made 2 resolutions. I made 2 resolutions that day. And they were the last New Year's resolutions I ever made. To keep my sink clean and shiny. That was the first one. My resolution was to get organized. But how do you do that? It's too broad. It's a terribly broad thing. But what I decided is I would establish a new habit each month. And the second resolution was to be kind to me. It's just that simple. Don't say ugly things to yourself. Don't beat yourself up. I was my own worst enemy because what you think about, you bring about. So we have to change it. We have to turn it around and take care of ourselves through this whole process. Loving ourselves. And that was the beginning of Fly Lady. I did 9 months of establishing habits. I wrote in April. I started to see things change like crazy. Shining my sink was the first month. February was decluttering 15 minutes a day. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 in the afternoon, and 5 in the evening. March was getting dressed to lace up shoes. I'm piggybacking one habit on the other. Piggybacking. This is wonderful. This is a wonderful way to do things. And when you establish one habit, then you can add another habit to that. So shining my sink was the last thing I would do every evening before I went to bed and headed to the bathroom to get ready for bed. Shining my sink. So let's drink to that shiny sink. In April, I added making my bed every day. May, I added moving 15 minutes every day. And if you're a part of the Hot Melt Sprint group, you got to see Bobby move. That woman is amazing, going up and down those steps and doing jumping jacks at the bottom. She is Rocky. And she was playing the Rocky theme. So, moving in May. June was drinking my water. I realized I was dehydrated and feeling sluggish. My house was getting clean. Just those simple habits were getting my house clean and in order. Then, May was, and June was drinking water. July was swish and swipe. That's when I came up with swish and swipe in the bathroom. 30 seconds to do it, keeping my bathroom clean every day and ready for company. August, doing a load of laundry each day. Sometimes it's hard to come up with a load to take to the washing machine, but I got a system for it. I have a system. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I have a system. Towels one day, Sunday sheets. I do pants on one day and shirts on another. It's easy. I came up with a system. Systems work. August, September was my before bed routine. I actually put together a before bed routine for myself. Think about tomorrow. Check what we got a great testimony this morning. Somebody overslept because she accidentally grabbed her husband's phone when she went to bed. And she overslept. She was 30 minutes late getting up. But she had done her before bed routine. She knew what she was going to put on because it was laid out. It's amazing stuff here. You think about tomorrow, you pick your clothes out, you set up your launch pad. She was able to get out of the house in 30 minutes and gone to work without being late. And she had overslept 30 minutes. So your before bed routine is what we're doing right now. This routine gets you ready for tomorrow. It relieves the stress and the screaming that comes out of your mouth and the yelling when you're rushed and in a hurry. Nip it in the bud. That before bed routine will do that because you're getting a lot of things done in the evening so that you don't have to think about it first thing in the morning. I've been getting my launch pad ready for my trip to my sister's house. I've got a bag. She calls me the bag lady, y'all. Let me finish up the months, though. There's September, October. I dealt with my paper clutter. I went through all my paper clutter and started getting rid of things. I had a burn pile going. That's on my fireplace. If you've got a fire pit, just make sure you can burn stuff because we're in a little mini drought right now. We haven't had any rain in about 3 weeks. Leanne's getting it's thundered here, but I haven't gotten any rain yet, not a drop. October is dealing with our paper clutter. November is menu planning. Menu planning. This can change everything. Knowing what you're going to have to do. I know what I'm going to have for dinner tonight. I'm going to have spinach. I'm going to have a salad with this lovely dressing. I'm going to have a cup of this hot melt soup. A small cup. I'm not going to have a huge 16-ounce cup. I'm going to have a little 6-ounce cup of hot melt soup. And I'm going to have some meatloaf. Meatloaf. That's my protein for tonight. Yay. I'm going to break. I haven't broken my fast yet. I've had some bone broth, but it didn't have any veggies in it. It was just liquid. Leanne said I did not break my fast, so I'm having tea now. And now for the last one, December. December is pampering yourself a little every day. We need to do something every day to pamper ourselves. Get our nails done, go get a pedicure. Leanne mentioned it last night, going to get a pedicure. I haven't had a pedicure in a long time because I don't like people touching my feet. I don't even like the dog to lick my feet. And it just, So please realize that my 2 resolutions were the last ones I ever made. That was in 1999. In a few months, well, it's been 20 years already. It was January 1st of 1999. It's been 20 years. Fly Lady started December the 7th of 1999. After a whole year of piggybacking these habits on one another. After a whole year of being kind to me. Getting the clutter out of my house. prepared me to become Fly Lady for you. That was God's plan. That was God's plan all along. That's all it was. He had a plan for me, but I had to flip the switch. I had to figure it out why I couldn't keep house. And I did it. And I learned. And I'm teaching you. And Leanne's teaching us both. Teaching you and me about nutrition and feeding ourselves well. Feeding ourselves good food. Learning to cook good food for our bodies. Doesn't take a whole lot. Doesn't take a whole lot. Well, y'all, here's to shiny sinks and being kind. And I think I'm going to take the rest of the day off. How about you, Leanne? I'm going to give you the rest of the day off. And I'm going to give myself the rest of the day off. I think we need a little nap. And nothing's better than taking a little nap while it's raining. So let's drink up. God is so good. He is. I went longer this time. I got to come up with some topics. They're not printing out for me. I don't know what's wrong with my printer. So, folks, I will see you tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. I will see you tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock. And let's enjoy the rest of the day. Sun's coming out here. I love you all. I'm doing what God put me here to do. I know this. Deep down in my heart, I know this is what God put me on this earth to do. Because I never knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. Ever. I was 43 years old when Fly Lady started. 43. It's been 20 years. And time just flies. Flip that switch. You've got things you've got. When you flip the switch, it's going to change everything. It really is. Because you no longer desire. Because you flip the switch in your head. You no longer desire what it is that you've always said you couldn't do. You can do it. You got to switch like I got to switch. Let's flip it. I'll see y'all later. Bye.